This is WEFT Champaign, 90.1 FM, community radio for East Central Illinois, streaming live at www.weft.org. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to Weekend Heartbeat, a series of shows that represent a collective effort to bring the thoughts and actions of people working in the nonprofit arena to the forefront, where it needs to be. Join us each Saturday at this time to enjoy a different episode in this series. On the first Saturday of each month, you can hear Peace Talks Radio with Joy George. On the second Saturday, A New Lamp with Marilyn Rickey and Sean David. On the third Saturday, WFT Vision 2020 with Sandra Otten. And on the fourth Saturday, you can hear Radio Eco Shock with Doug Olive. The views and opinions expressed here are those of the speakers and do not necessarily represent those of WFT, its board of directors, associates, its station manager, or Prairie Air Incorporated. The following program is pre-recorded and consists of two parts. The first part was recorded in 2011. The second part was recorded in October 2014. Welcome to Weekend Heartbeat. I'm Sean David, and this is A New Lamp.
New lamp for old. New lamp for old. Remember how Aladdin headed out to get oil for his mother's old dented, tarnished lamp? And in the market he met a magician calling out these words. This strange man was offering to give him a brand new shiny lamp for his old one. That's what I want to offer you, if you'll have it. A new lamp of spiritual guidance. But maybe you already have such a lamp, which still burns brightly. Great. You are still welcome to join us simply to learn who we are. But maybe your lamp of divine guidance has gotten dented and tarnished like Aladdin's. Or perhaps you have no such lamp at all. To you, I offer a new lamp. Hi, my name is Marilyn. Welcome to A New Lamp, a program designed to make you acquainted with the Baha'i religious faith. I hope you will choose to spend the next few minutes with me. Thanks.
This is the day the world will be one land. This is the day we'll all love again. Now the Lord has gone forth out of Zion. The glory of God fills the air. And the call has gone down to the nations. But still you have no ears to hear. This is the day we'll all go by one name. This is the day we'll all love again. Now is the time we'll all come together. This is the day we'll all love again. Have you walked on the hill of Isaiah? Now Mount Carmel shines gold in the sun, and the secret stands bare to the heavens. He told us that mankind is one. This is the day we'll all come together. This is the day we'll all love again. Now is the time we'll all go by one name. This is the day we'll all love again.
I am so excited. You know how it is when you've found something for which you've been looking for a long time? You want to tell everyone you meet. That's what I'm doing, and I get to tell you all about what I have found over the radio. This is really a new experience, so please be patient with me if I stumble and stammer over my words for these next few weeks. Each week I'll be presenting a little snippet about the Baha'i faith, such as who the founders were, the core principles, form of worship, etc. Today, however, we're going to just start with a few preliminaries. First, I'm going to tell you about what the Baha'i faith is not. It is not a cult or a sect of any other religion. If someone tells you it is a sect of Islam, they are wrong. Would you say that Christianity is a sect of Judaism? Of course not. Just as Jesus was born into the Jewish culture, so were the founders of the Baha'i faith born into the Islamic culture. The Baha'i faith is recognized by the United States government and the United Nations as an independent world religion, and that's where that rumor ends. The word Baha'i means follower of the glory. Baha means glory or splendor. The I, pronounced E, means follower of. So when properly pronounced, it is Baha'i. We are the followers of Baha'u'llah, the glory of God, whom we believe to be the promised one for whom all the major religions have been awaiting. More on this another day, but I did want to tell you that much at least today. Let's think about names for a minute. The common name John, which in Hebrew means God is merciful, is translated into 18 languages and 125 variations, such as Ian, Sean, Ivan, Han, Yaha, and for just a few. All the same, we refer to Christ as Jesus, the English form of the Latin Jesu. His mother, however, called him Yeshua. How about the name of God? God, with a capital G, is what we say in English. What answer did Moses get when he asked what to call him? I am that I am. So if we refer to God as God, Father, Yahweh, Jehovah, Boži, which is Slavic, or Allah, God is still God, the one, the only God, no matter how he is called in another language. Each religion pretty well much has one word that best describes it. For Christianity, that word would probably be redemption. For Islam, definitely submission. For Baha'i, the word is unity. One God, one people, one religion of God. We'll delve into that another day also. Just keep in mind, all the major monotheistic religions believe in one God and some form of the Golden Rule. Herein is the unity of all religions. One preliminary point I'd like to have you consider is how we see the messengers of God. In the Baha'i faith, we refer to the founders of the great religions as the manifestations of God. One day soon, I'll tell you about our principles of progressive revelation. For today, I want us to think about what a manifestation means. Say you have a mirror in your hand, and looking into it, you say, "That's me." Really? Granted, it looks like you, moves when you do, opens its mouth when you speak. But really, are you a mirror? You send a picture of yourself, but an exact image is what you sent, not yourself. So God uses his messengers as pure mirrors, exactly reflecting himself. The messenger is also God's mouthpiece, so if he says, "I am God," The servant is speaking for his Lord. He is but a man, but we see and hear divinity through him. In the Old Testament, the prophets would say, "Thus saith the Lord." In the Baha'i writings, there will simply be the word "say." I had the most amazing experience a few years ago. I was traveling west on the D. Bennett Road at sunrise on an October morning. The sun was coming up behind me, but I couldn't see it for the trees. Suddenly, as I approached the halfway house, I saw the most beautiful, wondrous sight I had ever seen. From the upper windows of the house, the most beautiful colors were radiating, magentas of all shades tinged with gold. I was awestruck and thought, this is like the manifestation of God.
O Son of Spirit, my first counsel is this: possess a pure, kindly, and radiant heart, that thine may be a sovereignty, ancient, imperishable, and everlasting, ancient, imperishable, and everlasting. Love me, that I may love thee. If thou lovest me not, my love can in no wise reach thee. Know this, O servant, know this, O servant. O Son of Spirit, my first counsel is this: possess a pure, kindly, and radiant heart, that thine may be a sovereignty, ancient, imperishable, and everlasting, ancient, imperishable, and everlasting. Love me, that I may love thee. If thou lovest me not, my love can in no wise reach thee. Love me, that I may love thee. If thou lovest me not, my love can in no wise reach thee. Know this, O servant,
O Son of Spirit, my first counsel is this: possess a pure, kindly, and radiant heart, that thine may be a sovereignty, ancient, imperishable, and everlasting. Baha'u'llah. Thanks so much for being with me this morning. I hope you have found a blessing during these few minutes. If you want to learn more about the Baha'i religion, you can go online to www.bahai.us. To contact me, my email address is anewlamp@yahoo.com. Thanks, and have a great day. Good afternoon, and welcome to this introductory program of A New Lamp. This program was originally created and aired in Ottawa, Illinois for WCMY Radio. I'm Marilyn, and I'd like to thank WEFT Community Radio for giving us the chance to air it again in East Central Illinois. We will be bringing you a new episode of A New Lamp on the second Saturday of each month at this time. We hope that today's program will interest you enough that you will want to return to hear our November program. So, as you heard in the first segment of today's show, our program is designed to teach people in this area about the Baha'i religion. Our intention is not to try to lure anyone away from a religion in which he or she is secure and happy. Because the Baha'i faith is so relatively new, it is not as familiar to people as the older religions such as Judaism, Christianity, Buddhism, or Islam. Many of you listening today may never have heard of the Baha'i faith or have misconceptions about it, so this program is for educational purposes, not to proselytize. On each program, we will be using one of the New Lamp segments, as well as having an interview with a local Baha'i, music, and scriptural readings. The two of us involved in this production are both Baha'is. I thought today, instead of interviewing someone else, this would be a good opportunity for you to get to know who we are. So here goes. Hi, Sean, the technical person who really gets the show on the road, so to speak. Or should that be on the air?
Hi, Marilyn, the content coordinator. Why don't you tell the folks a little about yourself?
Well, okay. I'm fairly new in the Champaign-Urbana area, having moved here 3 years ago from Ottawa, a town up by Starved Rock. I'm a retired nurse. I have 4 children, 6 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandson. My daughter, her 2 sons, and grandson live here, which of course is much of my motivation for moving here. Also, did I mention Skeezies, my 15-year-old cat? Can't forget my little companion. I am not at all ashamed to admit I will be 80 before the end of this year. Okay, Sean, your turn.
Well, I grew up in the Champaign-Urbana area, but I became an Army medic right out of high school, and they sent me to Korea and Honduras and Germany and Texas. I lived in Japan a year, went to film school in California, and I only recently returned to the area. In all, I did 6 years on active duty and a whole bunch more in the National Guard. Today, I work at the university as a technical writer. I am unmarried, and I am ashamed of my age, so I think I'll keep that part quiet, unless you ask.
Okay, ladies, take note. So, Sean, have you ever noticed that when Baha'is first meet, invariably they ask each other how they have come to be a Baha'i and for how long? I guess that's because we are still relatively small compared to other religions. In the other religions, it can usually be assumed that their family has probably been a part of that religion for generations. That isn't usually true of Baha'is. We get pretty excited when we meet another Baha'i. So, Sean, what about you? How do you come to be a Baha'i? Tell me your Baha'i story.
I was raised in a Baha'i family. My parents actually met at a Baha'i meeting here on the Urbana campus. It was back when black folks and white folks weren't even allowed to get legally married in some states, so it was kind of a big deal. Of course, I didn't become a Baha'i automatically. You're expected to declare whether or not you want to be enrolled in a Baha'i community when you turn 15. For me, it was not a sure thing. I did a lot of experimenting and soul searching. I asked my friends about their religions and beliefs, read a lot about why people believe what they believe, and I totally grilled my mentors in the Baha'i clubs and groups that I was a part of. But I think that what really confirmed me in my beliefs was the way my friends would turn to me for answers about the big questions. I wasn't any smarter than any other kid my age, but I was reading the Baha'i scriptures and they made everything, good or bad, they made it all make sense. What puzzled me was how it could be that I could understand the world so well while so few others around me seemed to. I just kept expecting someone, my friends or my teachers, my textbooks, to tell me how wrong I am, but instead my experience has been just the opposite. Once I realized that this faith I had been taking for granted was in reality the source of an inner peace and wisdom that so many of my friends were hurting for, I knew that it was something I shouldn't take so lightly anymore. I declared my faith in Baha'u'llah, and I still feel the same way.
So, Sean, you used the word declare. What do you mean by that? Is there a certain ritual when you become a Baha'i?
Well, it's not exactly a ritual. Baha'is have a belief that you reach an age of maturity at 15 years old, and at that point you can begin to make your own decisions for yourself. So they ask you at the age of 15 to make a formal declaration that you want to belong to the community. Baha'is don't have a lot of rituals, so in America at least, or this community at least, it varies from community to community and across different countries, we'll often sign a card. And it's really very much a formality, but it's a formality that's often treated with a little bit of pomp. You know, sometimes there's a party. I know I had a big declaration party around my declaration, that kind of thing. You know, it coincides with the birthday, so it can be a birthday party too, and you sign your card on your birthday. It's all kind of wound together. So yeah, it was something that certainly in Baha'i language, among Baha'i youth, when you're under 15, Baha'i children, it's, are you going to declare? Are you going to declare? Are you going to declare? So it's just a word we use.
Yeah. So even if you're past 15, you still are declaring. You're still signing a card. And one thing, of course, in the United States is this card, when it gets sent into the National Center, you're given a number. That number allows you to vote.
Right.
And that's important. We'll get to voting at some other time, but that's important.
Yes, it is.
We have such different stories. You were born into a Baha'i family, and I didn't even hear the word Baha'i until I was 70 years old. I was raised Protestant Christian. As I studied my religion and read the Bible over all those years, though I believed in Christ as God's messenger and all he taught, I felt that the church overall and its teachings had been compromised with the passage of 2,000 years. So I felt there was something else I was missing. The one thing I believed was that Christ would return, as he said. He said to watch, for he would come like a thief in the night. Everything pointed to this being the time, at least I felt it did, and I prayed that if this were so, I wouldn't be among those who wouldn't recognize him when he did return. The pastor at the church I was attending was leading a study on different religions. We were almost through the course. I was reading the last chapter at home one evening and came on the section about the Baha'i faith. That was my eureka moment. Everything fell into place exactly as I felt it should. I cannot tell you what joy, how ecstatic were my feelings. So I moved into being a Baha'i as easily as passing from one grade in school to the next. You know how it goes when you're in first grade, you learn that 2 plus 2 is equals 4. You go on to another grade and you learn other things. That does not mean that 2 plus 2 still isn't 4.
Right. Exactly. You kind of need to have those earlier grades in order to understand the later ones. You can't be without them.
That's right. Exactly. So for 7 years, I was an isolated believer before moving to Champaign. In other words, I was the only Baha'i in the Ottawa area.
Right.
It's kind of lonesome.
Yeah.
So what about Jesus? Yes, of course I believe in Jesus. I believe in Baha'u'llah as his return. And that's my Baha'i story. So I guess our listeners should be pretty well acquainted with who we are. On to other things. Briefly, Sean, could you tell us a little bit about the Bab?
Sure. The Bab was the forerunner of Baha'u'llah, just as John the Baptist was for Jesus Christ. Bab is a Persian title which means the gate. The Bab said that he had come to be the gate for the one whom God shall make manifest, which was what he called the Promised One. The Bab's teaching about spiritual revival, the importance of education, of independent thought, and of the elevation of the status of women rocked Persian society in the 1840s, and his faith spread like wildfire. Finally, it got to the point that 20,000 Babis were put to death, including the Bab himself, but his religion continued to spread, even while his followers were exiled. Baha'u'llah, the one whom God shall make manifest, had been one of the Bab's followers, and he revealed himself to the other Babis some years later. Today, there is an incredible shrine to the Bab in the Baha'i Gardens on the slope of Mount Carmel in Haifa, Israel.
Standing on a mountain, looking across the bay, the Queen of Carmel reigns. She reigns majestically. Cry out, O Zion, cry out to your
mention in the book of names. Cry out, Zion. Cry out to your Lord. Cry out, O Zion. Circle round in adoration.
Circle round your Lord.
Cry out, O Zion. Cry out to your circle round in adoration.
Circle round your Lord.
Circle round in adoration.
Circle round
Here are some events coming up at the Baha'i Center in Urbana in June 2016. The Baha'i Center is located at 807 East Green Street in Urbana, a few blocks east of Lincoln Square. Every Sunday at 10:30 a.m., there is a devotional gathering at the Baha'i Center. During that time, there will be interfaith prayers, scriptural readings, and music. There is also a devotional program at the Baha'i Center every Tuesday at 7 p.m. On the fourth Sunday of each month, the devotional program is followed by a game day. There will be a noon potluck and then an afternoon of board games, puzzles, and good fellowship for all ages. All of these events are open to the public and are free of charge. The Baha'i Center is located on the red MTD bus line and is wheelchair accessible. For more information about these and other events at the Baha'i Center, call 217-337-1808 or see the website for the Baha'is of Champaign-Urbana at www.cu-bahai.org. If you would like to send an email to the local Baha'i community, go to cu-baha'i.org and click Contact Us in the left-hand menu.
I would like to finish our program today with a few minutes of Baha'i scriptures and music. Sean, would you share this time of reading with me?
Sure. Thy name is my healing, O my God, and remembrance of thee is my remedy. Nearness to thee is my hope, and love for thee is my companion. Thy mercy to me is my healing and my succor in both this world and the world to come. Verily, thou art the bountiful, the all-knowing, the all-wise. Baha'u'llah.
Thy name is my healing, O my God, and remembrance of the and love for thee is my companion. Thy mercy to me is my healing and my succor in both this world and the world to come. Thou verily art the all-bountiful, the all-knowing, the all-wise. Thy name is my healing, oh my God, and remembrance of thee is my remedy. Nearness to thee is my hope, and love for thee is my companion. Thy mercy to me is my healing and my succor in both this world and the world to come. Thou verily art the all-bountiful, the all-knowing, the all-wise.
The all-knowing physician hath his finger on the pulse of mankind. He perceiveth the disease, and prescribeth in his unerring wisdom the remedy. Every age hath its own problem, and every soul its particular aspiration. The remedy the world needeth in its present-day afflictions can never be the same as that which a subsequent age may require. Be ye anxiously concerned with the needs of the age ye live in, and center your deliberations on its exigencies and requirements. We can well perceive how the whole human race is encompassed with great, with incalculable afflictions. We see it languishing on its bed of sickness, sore tried and disillusioned. They that are intoxicated by self-conceit have interposed themselves between it and the divine and infallible physician. Witness how they have entangled all men, themselves included, in the mesh of their devices. They can neither discover the cause of the disease, nor have they any knowledge of the remedy. They have conceived the straight to be crooked, and have imagined their friend an enemy. Incline your ears to the sweet melody of this prisoner. Arise and lift up your voices, that haply they that are fast asleep may be awakened. Say, O ye who are as dead, the hand of divine bounty proffereth unto you the water of life. Hasten and drink your fill. Whoso hath been reborn in this day shall never die. Whoso remaineth dead shall never live.
O King of kings and Lord of lords, O King of kings and Lord of lords, O glory, O Counselor, O Comforter,
When righteousness is weak and faints, and unrighteousness exalts in pride, then my spirit arises on earth. For the salvation of those who are good, for the destruction of evil in men, for the fulfillment of the kingdom of righteousness, I come to this world, from age to age.
And the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end, to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice, from henceforth even forever.
O Shahanshah, O King of Kings, O Lord of hosts, with 10,000 saints, O most great name, O hidden name, O promised one, O Shabbat.
When 1,200 and some years have passed from the inception of the religion of the Arabian and the overthrow of the kingdom of Iran and the degradation of the followers of my religion, a descendant of the Iranian kings will be raised up as a prophet.
I am not the first Buddha who came upon earth, nor shall I be the last. In due time, another Buddha will arise in the world, a holy one, a supremely enlightened one, endowed with wisdom in conduct, auspicious, knowing the universe, an incomparable leader of men, a master of angels and mortals. He will reveal to you the same eternal truths which I have taught you. He will preach his religion, glorious at the goal, in the spirit and in the letter. He will proclaim a religious life, holy, perfect, and pure, such as I now proclaim.
Christ returned in the glory of the Father. O Christ returned in the glory of the Father. O Prince of Peace, O Comforter, O Redeemer.
And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying,
O Spirit of truth, O Son of Man, come again in the glory of the Father. O Lawgiver, O Redeemer, O Unifier. O great announcement.
And in the Holy Quran, God says, God is the light of the heavens and the earth. His light is like a niche in which is a lamp. The lamp encased in glass, the glass as it were a brilliant star, lit from a blessed tree, an olive, of neither the east nor of the west, whose oil is beginning to burst into light, though no fire has touched it. Light upon light, God guideth whomsoever he willeth to his light, and of all things God is knowing.
The books, the scriptures, and holy writings of previous ages have all proclaimed the joyful tidings that the purpose underlying the most mighty revelation is none other than the rehabilitation of the world and its nations, that perchance the power of utterance may prevail over the power of arms, and the world's affairs be administered through the potency of love. We ask God, the True One, to invest all with the mantle of trustworthiness, for that is the world's comeliest garment. Baha'u'llah.
This is the day in which God's most excellent favors have poured out upon men, the day in which his most mighty grace hath been infused into all created things. It is incumbent upon all the peoples of the world to reconcile their differences, and with perfect unity and peace, abide beneath the shadow of the tree of his care and loving kindness. It behoveth them to cleave to whatsoever will in this day be conducive to the exaltation of their stations, and to the promotion of their best interests. Happy are those whom the all-glorious pen was moved to remember, and blessed those men whose names, by virtue of our inscrutable decree, we have preferred to conceal. Beseech ye the one true God to grant that all men may be graciously assisted to fulfill that which is acceptable in our sight. Soon will the present-day order be rolled up, and a new one spread out in its stead. Verily thy Lord speaketh the truth, and is the knower of things unseen. Baha'u'llah.
My life
Magnified be thy name, O Lord my God. Thou art he whom all things worship, and who worshippeth no one, who is the Lord of all things, and is the vassal of none, who knoweth all things, and is known of none. Thou didst, through word of thy mouth, bring creation into being and fashion the universe. There is none other God except thee, the fashioner, the creator, the almighty, the most powerful. Baha'u'llah.
The musicians on today's program were Kiyu Hagagi, playing the santur in the opening segment. The Voices of Baha, directed by Tom Price. This is the Day and O Son of Spirit by Grant Hinden Miller. O Baha'u'llah, the Baha'i Choir led by Van Gilmer, and Thy Name is My Healing by Barb Qualls. If you would like to learn more about the Baha'i community in Champaign-Urbana or any of the activities we've mentioned today, you can visit our website at www.cu-bahai.org. If you would like to learn more about the Baha'i community in Champaign-Urbana or any of the activities we've mentioned today, you can visit our website at www.cu-bahai.org. If you would like to learn more about the Baha'i Faith, please visit www.bahai.us. Thank you again for joining us today. I hope you'll join us again next month. Goodbye.
Thanks for listening to this week's Weekend Heartbeat on WEFT Champaign 90.1 FM, Community Radio, Champaign-Urbana, Illinois, streaming live at www.weft.org.